Hey everyone, I got a real treat for you today. Today we're going to be looking at Antoine Bauza's different board games. We're going to be ranking them with a tier list on tiermaker.com. And who is Antoine Bauza? Well, his BGG username is Toinito, and I think it's the same thing in Board Game Arena as well. So you can check him out and see what games he has played. I know he's played some of his own games, including Seven Wonders once. Um, and anyways, so he's a pretty cool guy. You can look at these pictures above me. He's likes to have fun. Um, he's done a lot of different collaborations with Bruno Cathala. There you can see right there, and then but yeah, he's a pretty cool French guy and has made a lot of some of my favorite board games. In fact, for a while in college, he was my favorite board game designer and still is one of my favorites out there. And as I'm going through these different designers, you have to pay respect because he's got a lot of different board games out there that have made it really high up in the board game geek ranking list, as well as games that are beloved by myself. So without further ado, let's go into his different board games that he's done. So first one is going to be, um, we're going to be looking at Seven Wonders Duel. And you can see Seven Wonders Duel right now is 18 on Board Game Geek. Actually, for a while, it was in the top 10. In fact, it made it all the way up to 7th or 6th place. And I think Gloomhaven or one of Jamie Stegmaier's games maybe came up there and replaced it. And I think the designer of one of those games said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I removed Seven Wonders Duel from the 7th place," which was kind of cool. But they were very different games, and one of them beat out the other in public opinion. But for me, Seven Wonders Duel is one of my favorite games. I'd say it's like my number three favorite game of all time. Really incredible game, and I'm gonna put that in the S tier for me, and probably the best game on Board Game Arena. I think a lot of people would agree with that as well. So now next up, we have Seven Wonders. It's going to be similar to Seven Wonders Duel. If you haven't played a drafting game, play a different drafting game like Sushi Go first, and then get to more advanced drafting game, drafting cards around. Because this one, you have resources that you draft around that can build cards later on in Age 2 and Age 3 of different card sets. This game, you want to do a practice round the first time you play, but at its core, after you get the hang of it, you're like, oh, this is actually really simple. So Seven Wonders, really great game, and I want Board Game Arena to get more of the expansions out there because it has a load of different expansions. Leaders, where you each round have a special power that you can utilize from a leader of history. Cities, which adds some like negative points in there and some cool different combinations of fighting and peace even that you can add. Whereas Seven Wonders, normally at the end of every round you do a battle. Well, in cities you could do peace. I'm not going to go through all the expansions, but just really great when you add a lot of expansions in. But base game, I'm going to put that at B tier. Um, and then now we're going to move on to Takanoko. So Takanoko is number 310 on Board Game Geek, and it's got let's take a look at the cute pictures in here. So I'm just gonna go through what Board Game Geek has. You get this cute little panda there, and you have three different colors of bamboo, and you're gonna have these huge tiles that you're putting out there, and bigger, wider than tiles in Settlers of Catan actually, and you're going to have three different ways you'll score points in the game. One can be from uh, like having the board set up a certain way, like having three yellow plots in a row, and yellow plots will grow yellow bamboo. You can do panda objectives, yeah, and these are all gold cards that you draw. As one of your actions on your turn, you can draw a gold card. When 9 or so objectives are completed, the game just ends, and whoever has the most points will win the game. If you're the first one done, I think you get a bonus 2 points if you're first one to get 9, and then you finish out the round. But yeah, plots of like three pinks in a row, three greens in a cluster, or whatever. And then that, green and cluster, that's gonna, each green tile is gonna grow some green bamboo. Maybe you have a panda goal that needs the panda to eat some green bamboo. And then the third type of goal is gardening goals, where you want the bamboo to grow to its max height or to a certain level of height, and then score that one. So those will be a little bit harder to score, but they're worth more points. And the panda walks around eating these bamboo pieces as the gardener here is trying to grow them. So there's a cute little give and take there with the different things. And you can help yourself with a panda objective and ruin somebody else's high scoring gardener objective. And then you have somebody else doing a plot objective, just being like, all right, I just wanted a bunch of green bamboo places out there. I didn't know your panda had a secret goal of you need 2 green bamboo you need to eat. Anyways, so that's how Takanoko works. One thing I gotta say about Takanoko is there is no other game like that. I think maybe Tiny Epic Quest might be similar to it, but a game where you have a goal in your hand where you want the board to look a certain way. That's really cool. And yeah, it's a beautiful game. Look at these pictures above me. That's just so great. All in all, I think Takanoko has earned its place at 310 on Board Game Geek, which is actually pretty high. Being in the top 500 is already really great. I think the Geek average rating is a 7, so people are just saying, hey, at the very least, hey, 7. But there's tons of people who are raking it a 10. I know. So Takanoko. I don't have my copy anymore. I sold it. I had a choice between that and another game of his, which will come up later, that starts with a T. So we'll just put Takanoko in a C tier, because I think at that point I was like, do I keep Takanoko with these gold cards? Maybe not for me, but for other people, they might like these gold cards. I don't like that the Emperor, the plot gold cards require an objective to not have already been completed. So that's one negative of it. If it's in a C tier, I'll give a negative here. Here's the negative. If you have already 3 irrigated plots in that example I used, you need 3 green plots touching each other to get maybe like a certain amount of points from a card. Well, if they're already there on the board when you draw that objective, then you can't just play it out and be like, hey, I just drew the objective I needed. I wish you could do that, but it turns out that that would make the game too easy, they decided. And so if you draw something that's already completed, then you just have to say, hey, so this one I can't use, I'm going to redraw and draw a new one. Now, if it's not already irrigated, like there's 3 next to each other, that'll be pretty simple to finish. So just don't irrigate anything until the end of the game. It's maybe a fix for you, but maybe somebody else is already irrigating things to try to finish off objectives. You can only keep 5 objectives in your hand at any given time. So they're like, oh, well, let me just irrigate these and finish the plot. Well, you draw a card and then it's like, oh, well, now this is useless. This would have been great if you hadn't irrigated it. Now I got to draw another one. And 4 ping touching. That won't happen before the end of the game. I'm not going to win this one. I wish I could have had the first card I drew. Board Game Arena fixes this issue and doesn't even let you see the card that you would have drawn, and then just discards that card. And then you only really draw 1 card. You don't have to do a quick check on the board and see, was this already completed? Because that would be really unfair if you draw a card, it's already completed, and you are new at the game and you're just like, I don't know. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to keep that as a point. And then at the end of the game, when everybody's finishing off their objectives, oh, shoot, we're all at 9? Okay, I'll finish off all 5 of these. Hey, they were already done. All these plots were 3 pink in a row, 3 green in a cluster, whatever. That's just not really great for I know a lot of people think it's a good gateway game. That's not great for a gateway game. So that is one minor criticism that I have with the game, but Board Game Arena obviously fixes that. So that is Takanoko. Next up, we have Ghost Stories. So Ghost Stories is one of my favorites, probably my favorite cooperative game. I'll just tell you right now, it's just so amazing. You just look at this game here. You have your 4 heroes trying to rescue or trying to save this village, and then every single turn a ghost is going to be drawn from this deck. This is kind of a cool setup. It shows everything. And then 10 cards from the bottom, you're going to be signaled to draw one of these red cards, which could be which is a boss ghost, and that's in the beginning game. In the expert and nightmare versions, there's 3 or 4 different boss ghosts that will come out. But yeah, how hard are boss ghosts? Near impossible to defeat. It's very hard to win this game. And that's, I think, why I like it so much. It's just so crushingly difficult. You have this evil sorcerer named Wu Feng. You really get into the theme, too. Trying to fight this Chinese village. He fought them in life. They killed him. They buried his ashes deep in the city. And he's trying to take over the city. Once he takes out these 4 Taoists, kills them, or takes out 3 of any of these tiles, not to be confused, some people think it's 3 in a row, any 3 tiles gone, then the city says, okay, you can have your urn back. You've ruined the city enough, and just spare our lives. And it's like a mercy thing, like, yes, I've conquered the city, evil Wu Feng. And they even make a second expansion to this, White Moon, which was pretty good, where you had different villagers within the village housing. Like, you'd have 3 little small tiles on top of this large tile, and they could be brought to a gate where you could rescue them, and that was all right. And then they made a 4th or a 3rd version of the game, an expansion, where you could be the evil sorcerer Wu Feng, and then have a 5th player fighting you. And instead of, when you draw a blue ghost, you have to place it on a blue board, but you can choose where you want to place it. So if that monster is blue, let's just look at this here. You draw a blue monster, and it's going to kill one of these spaces. The graveyard could bring somebody back to life, but you might not need that much. So maybe you put it there, and it's going to kill the graveyard, and that's fine. But if you're the bad guy playing the game, you're going to put it right here in the middle, where it is going to destroy this really useful prayer spot. And also, if you're placing a ghost in the corner, if one of these Taoists moves to this spot, the Taoist can move to any of these 9 squares. If they're on this square, this graveyard, he can actually attack the green ghost that's here and the blue ghost that's in that corner. And so you can do a double kill, which is how you want to win the game, because every turn you're not going to be killing a ghost, but every turn you are going to be drawing a ghost. So you need to find ways to do double kills. I'm talking too much about this game, but really I could talk forever about it. I mean, the boss ghosts are incredibly hard to defeat. You're only rolling 4 dice a turn, but you can have some power-ups. Each of the dice have different faces of red, green, blue, yellow, black, or white, and white would be wild. And you're rolling these dice to try to score. Each dice takes out a hit point of the ghost, and then like a green hit point or a red, whatever, and you got to match them all. But just to defeat Hope Killer, you need to get 8 of these on 4 dice. There's ways to get more dice, and there's ways to get power-ups to add more damage, but you have to spend, like, they're very hard to come by, so you have to spend like everything to defeat this boss ghost. Most likely you're going to play the game 20 times before you even beat it once. Very hard to beat, but that's what I love about the game. So we're going to put that in S tier, because it is the greatest cooperative game of all time. Next up, we're going to move on to Hanabi, another really great cooperative game. And we are going to look at kind of the different... I have Hanabi Deluxe, so it's these domino tiles rather than cards, and you put dominoes or tiles, whatever. You're going to deal out the different fireworks to the players, and then they're going to flip them facing away from them so they can't see what they have. And then you're going to be using clues to tell the other players at the table what they have in their hand. You can say, hey, these all are green, or hey, these all are ones, and then play those, because we need to play the 1 first, then the 2, then the 3, then the 4, then the 5 of any color. So maybe you have the 1, 2, and the 3 of the red. Now only the 4 red is legal to be played, and we need to play that one before we can play the 5 red. You get a bonus when you play the 5th of each one. You get a bonus clue. Start the game with 8 clues. So do you want to tell him, your friend playing the game, not really an opponent in a cooperative game, but do you tell your friend, hey, you have the 1-5 red? Do you tell him, hey, this is a 5? So don't play it, basically, until the very, like, we have the 4 out. or do you tell them, hey, we have this one green that we haven't played yet. You want to play this one green? And as you're running out of clues dwindling, it, when you have no more clues left, you have to discard cards from your hand to get more clues. And you really hope they don't discard the only 5 you have left. That's the kind of feeling that you feel while you're playing the game. I really enjoy that about Hanabi, and it won the Game of the Year, I believe, in 2013. But yeah, a very great game. All in all, I really highly enjoy it. I'm going to put that in the A tier. Okay, next up, we have the this is Seven Wonders, the new version. We'll just put that in the B tier. I don't know how good that is in comparison, but the second edition, sure, that's I know I played it on Board Game Arena because there's an option to play the new version on there. Next up, we have Conan. I've never played Conan, so I'm going to skip it. Next, we have Draftosaurus. So Draftosaurus, yeah. So Draftosaurus is on Board Game Arena. I haven't quite figured out how to do well in this game, but there's some pretty cool things you can accomplish in this game with like placing out that you're drawing different dinosaurs and you have to place one of them. It's a drafting game, kind of similar to his Seven Wonders, so you notice the theme there, and you're trying to set it up so that you can always play a dinosaur in a good area for you. You get a bonus point for playing T-Rexes there, but then you sometimes have limitations where you can't place an animal next to a T-Rex. So it ended up being bad that you placed the T-Rex there. You won't know those limitations until it gets to your turn. This is by a roll of a die. Like I said, I haven't really fully discovered this game yet, but I think it's got some legs, so I'm going to put it in the B tier. Next up, Tokaido. So the Tokaido is a game that it's 612. It came out around the same time as Takanoko, I believe. But 2011 versus 2012. But Takanoko was better received, I think. But I really like Tokaido better. I think the zen feel that you feel while you're playing Tokaido. I end up keeping this game and selling Takanoko, but Tokaido feels really like you're just on a path. I'll pull up some images here. You're on a path, stopping at inns along the way, and each inn has a chance to earn 6 points, which is pretty good in the game, and you don't want to miss that chance. You're going to need 1, 2, or maybe even 3 coins, so it's good to have money prepared before you go into one of these inns. But along the way, you can score little pieces of points here and there as you... Let's take a look at the board. As you grab different almost worker placement spots with your one worker. You have one worker just moving across the board, and they can move to a place where they can spend money to buy 4 points, 3 points, 2 points items. But then you're down on money. You can spend money on the temple and have a majority scoring, have the most money spent on offerings to the temple. You can get a bunch of points there. You can draw a random friend card. You can get exponential growing points from these different paintings. This one gets 1 the first time, 2 the second time, 3 the third time, and then you finish the painting. And if you're the first person to finish that painting, you get a bonus. The white and the blue paintings are similar in that way as well. But these meal cards are really where you get 6 whole points, which you don't want to miss. So along the way, you're finding little things here and there that you like to grab. 2 points here, 3 points there, whatever. But then once you get to the inn, you better make sure that you have some money to buy the food that you need, and you can't eat the same thing twice. So don't always count on there being a 1 coin that you can buy. And if you're the first person there, you have in a 4-player game, maybe you have 4 or 5 different I don't remember, but different meals you can pick from. But your choices are whittled down as you play the game there. So if you're the last person in the inn, maybe you only have two choices, and if you've already eaten both of them, or you have no coins and one of them costs 3 and one of them costs 2, and you have one coin, maybe you are out of luck and you missed out on 6 points. So you don't always want to be grabbing the little pieces here and there. At each leg of the journey, you can move forward. It's your turn if you're behind the group, and you can move forward any number of spaces, all the way up to the inn, even. But you might want to grab a few points here, a few points there. And if you have a ton of money, then that's fine. You can even hit this yellow point up and just get 3 coins. So all in all, really great game. I highly enjoy it, and it's so zen-like. You can do okay at the game if you just always take the spot in front of people, as long as you have enough food to eat at the end, or enough money to eat when you eventually need to go to these inn spots here, there, and at the very end of the game. So yeah, really enjoy this game, Tokaido. I think everybody should just give it a try and see if they like it. I kept saying like a Zen feel, and that's how people think about this game, because like I said, you can just, as long as you have the money for the meals, you can really do whatever you want, and just uh, it's your turn if you're the last in the line. So if there's 2 spaces ahead of you before it gets to the next person, you can take 2 turns. You can take this space, and then you take the next space, and keep on taking spaces and still be the last person in line, and taking multiple different actions and getting points along the way. And if you just do that, then that's kind of not really thinking too much on your turn. So it's not so much a huge brain burner, is what I'm trying to say. You feel really at peace when you're playing this game, like no other game. So I'm going to say that Tokaido has such a unique experience. It's not like groundbreaking or anything, but you got to try it once. It's going to be a B tier for me. Then next up, we're going to go to, okay, Last Bastion is a re-theming of Ghost Stories. I'd imagine it's going to be S tier for me, but I haven't played it yet. Then we have Terror in Meeple City. So let's look at some of the cool things that are in there. Terror in Meeple City, you're going to have a completely built cardboard city that takes up your whole table. Then you're going to have some monsters, and they're going to have each special powers. Like one of them may be able to blow on the cardboard city and knock things over. Maybe you're going to have a taste for the red meeples and get bonus points for those. Really great game. I really enjoy it. You're going to be flicking things. You're going to be dropping things. Just very exciting game. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely when I've got kids, I'm gonna be playing with this game with all of them, and great to play with kids, great to play with adults too, and it's, I think they changed it from the name of Rampage to Terror in Meeple City, but regardless, it's just such a fun game. I highly enjoy the feeling of you're a monster breaking up a city and really rampaging through and terrorizing the meeples there. So I'm gonna put that in B tier. It's a pretty great game. Um, I think one time after playing it, the game went on really long, and I was like, okay, like I already know who's gonna win. They've eaten all the red meeples, and they have bonus points for red meeples, so they're already gonna win the game. Um, but we just need to flick a couple more buildings until all the buildings are destroyed for the game to end. And then I was like, okay, so this is not a strategy game. If I'm in a strategy mindset, I don't want to play Terror in Meeple City. That's why I'm putting in B tier. But for fun ratio, it could be A or even S, especially if you're playing with kids here. Just yeah, just flicking things around, and you play a card that lets you drop your monster. Really fun game. Next up, Architects. I've played this only on Board Game Arena, and I don't really like it that much. I'm going to put it in C tier just because it's not a Seven Wonders strategy thing. It's more like a Seven Wonders light. And if I want to play Seven Wonders, I want to play Seven Wonders and be strategic with Seven Wonders Duel or Seven Wonders. And Architects is just a little too simple for me, but it's still fine, and a cool way for somebody to learn the mechanisms of Seven Wonders, so they can get into Seven Wonders later. Maybe play Seven Wonders Architects first, then play Seven Wonders. But yeah, play it on Board Game Arena. A lot of these beautiful games, if you play on Board Game Arena, you go, not really that great, but then you see it in person, it's like, okay, that's actually really cool. The Little Prince, I don't know much about this game. Um, yeah, we'll go to the art of it and kind of show it off for a little bit. It's a 6.9, but yeah, sorry, I don't know much about the Little Prince, but yeah, check it out. Hopefully, it's good. Little Prince, Make Me a Planet. Okay, next up, Oceanos. That one I definitely know and definitely really like. I've played in tournaments with Oceanos. Not that I did it really well at all, but it's a pretty exciting game. You have a ship expedition leader who kind of leads or takes a turn. Everybody takes a turn being the expedition leader and playing cards with that. And then you're going to set up a tableau of different cards. Here, I'm going to look at some of the images for you to kind of see what I'm saying. At the end, you're going to have a deep sea drawing board of different cards that you have built, and they're going to score in rows and then columns. And yeah, it's just such a exciting game, and you can grab treasure chests. Yeah, it's really good, and I'm going to put that in A tier. You just got to try it. And then next up, I think that's, what is that, Welcome to the Dungeon or something. Let's see. Yeah, Welcome Back to the Dungeon. So haven't played that one. Haven't played Samurai Spirit. Although we'll look at that one as well. Yeah, I don't know where I'd put that in. I think he made that around the same time he made Ghost Stories, and people were like, "Hey, it's just as good as a cooperative game." I've never played Samurai Spirit, so I don't know. And then I think Monster Chase is a memory element game. It's like Monsters Inc., but for kids. And then the last one I'll look at is Attack on Titans, because I've actually played that one, and I really enjoy it. Actually, I think it's an all right cooperative game if you like the Attack on Titans theme. You're playing as the heroes in the story, and you're jumping up this monster, trying to fight them. It is a one versus everyone else game, so you are going to be like fighting one player, and you're rolling dice, so there is some luck to it, but combining the dice based on what faces there are to be able to do different amounts of damage to him. And ultimately, you can't kill him until he is lowered to a certain amount of, like, in a death range, so you need to hit him a bunch, and then he's in a death range, and then you have to get to his neck. Or you can, if the cannons are still there, you can shoot cannons to destroy him. But yeah, just like I think in the comic books, like, you got to get to that neck area and cut them in a certain way, otherwise they regenerate everything. So all in all, I think that one's a pretty cool game, and I'm going to put that in the B tier as well. It's an alright cooperative game. So hey, we got a cooperative game in the S tier. I'd say Ghost Stories is a tad bit better than Seven Wonders Duel. And then we have, but it's Seven Wonders Duel and Ghost Stories, S tier for sure. Hanabi is the better of the two for Oceanos, best of the A tier. Then and that's a cooperative game there. And we have a cooperative game in the B tier, but that's going to probably be towards the end of the B tier. And the best of the B tier is probably actually going to be Seven Wonders. I'd really enjoy that one. That one might actually go into A tier, but no, we'll pick it in B. And then Takanoko beats out Architects. So all in all, that was a handful of games from the designer Antoine Bauza. Hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about his games. Maybe there's some games in here that that you've played that you feel like should have been ranked higher, or I didn't play, and you can let me know in the comments below what you think about them and if I should try them out. I would definitely be willing to try out a lot of these different ones, like Conan. That sounds pretty interesting. Last Bastion, similar to Ghost Stories, so maybe it's a more streamlined version of Ghost Stories. That would be nice. Although I did like some of the complexities of Ghost Stories, and when you spent 20 games to try to finally beat it, you learn all the different rules, and so from each rule you learn an advantage that you can use against Wufeng. So maybe I'll still like Ghost Stories better, but I'd be willing to give that a try. Let me know what you think about Antoine Bauza as a designer, and please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.